This mini dictatorship and this rule of no law, this just rule of me, meaning Obama, is the antithesis of the United States of America. Do you know attacking the police like this has brought about a decline in law and order in America? Do you understand what he's doing? Do you think it's by accident? This is his modus operandi. Look how far he's gotten. From an unknown fifth-rate student in the middle of Hawaii, look where he's gone. And look how he's held on to power because of the genius of the media around him. And take a guess who they now want to foist on us. The very same evil monsters in Hollywood who did this to us, and I'll name them in a few seconds, they're doing it again. They're holding another fundraiser now for the Hildebeest. That would be David Geffen, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Steven Spielberg. When I jokingly say Katzenberg, Matzenberg, and Ratzenberg, do you think I'm doing it for fun? There are really evil men in the world who hate the country. There are really evil men in the world who manipulate imagery and poison the mind not only of Americans but of the whole world. There are really evil geniuses in Hollywood. They gave us Obama. They found him long before anyone else did, raised money for him, and foisted him upon us. They're now going to do it with the Hildebeest. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Your Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com. It's the only company I trust for tangible assets, gold and silver. Call 800-BUI-COIN. We have breaking news on the Savage Nation. Get ready. If you think it was bad, it just got worse. The California Senate, which is a single-party system, like in communist China, the California Senate just approved health care benefits for illegal immigrants. Let me repeat that, all of you good liberals. The state Senate in the state of California, a dictatorship, approved the hotly debated measure that would allow illegal immigrants in the nation, in California, to sign up for special health care programs that will offer the same benefits as Medi-Cal. This is what happens when you have a dictatorship of a Democrat socialist regime. This is your tax dollars. These are your tax dollars at work. This is what Jerry Brown has wrought. This is all of you smiling liberals. You'll soon pay for this with your own health. Now, I warned you about that in the beginning, 1994. I told you what was coming. I tried my best. I mean, I admit I failed. How many talk shows will admit to you that they failed? None. They act as though they're going to change the course of events by complaining about these things. I apologize to you. I've been preaching since 1994 about these things. I warned you what the radical left was doing, whether it been the animal rights groups like PETA, taking your eyes off the real human rights tragedies with absurd non-issues such as eating a McChicken sandwich. These clucking capons in PETA and their psychopathic cousins in the Klavan, who dominated the public consciousness for so many years, want you to pay attention to the drivel of animal rights, while the real tortures of humans being conducted by Muslims in the Middle East and elsewhere, not to mention the torture in Cuba and North Korea or in Africa. But whatever happened to Michelle Obama's hashtag Save the Girls? Did she give that one up in between the sandwiches? I thought she was going to save those girls who were stolen by the Muslims in Boko Haram. Guess that was a hot moment. But I warned you what would happen. I said, quote, page 21, they will open this country up to further terrorism. They will pollute everything that you believe in. They will trample on your church. They will trample on your flag. They will trample on your memory. They'll trample on your collective memory. They'll pervert your child's mind. 2002, remember who the father of all of this is? Me, Michael Savage. How can I save you from the liberal assault on our borders, language, and culture when the only thing to save us would be an immediate impeachment action against the most... Well, you got the picture.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE. Savage. Warning. The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
So the czars of Hollywood who have destroyed America, first with the vile pornography that they put out under the guise of art, and then by manipulating our elections, are now at it again, raising money for Hillary Clinton to continue their life choke hold on the nation. Geffen, Katzenberg, that's Jeffrey. People, they call him Jeffrey. I don't think there's an actual Ratzenberg, but I know there's a Spielberg and a few others control the United States of America and the world through the images that they create. Make no mistake about it. The images that are created in the pollution factories of Hollywood, USA, go out to the world. And so after they have paralyzed and destroyed the American mind and soul and heart, they're now trying to do it in the world. So what happens is, and I said this for 20 years now, we know that we are in a cultural war with Islam. Some call it a religious war. It could be called a religious political war or a cultural war. It's somewhat of a cultural war between the vile filth of the West and the 9th century primitive view of the radical Muslims. So it's Katzenberg and Geffen and the others against the radical Muslim view. And right now, after Katzenberg and company have destroyed the American soul and mind, they're now in a conflict with radical Islam. And so in the Middle East, they don't want their filthy movies. They come to this country, and whether or not they want Sharia law, whether or not they hate America is irrelevant. What's relevant is they don't want the filth and the violence that's created by the Hollywood filth factories in their home. No, they don't want their daughter to sleep with a girl. No, they don't want their Muslim son to be gay married to a man. No, they don't want it. In fact, they'd rather kill them than let that happen. But you don't hear about that in the daily news. They like you to believe that they're as tolerant as you are, that their defenses have been destroyed just as yours have been, but they really haven't. So they're at it again. And I realize that many of you don't understand what I'm saying, or you find this so offensive that you've turned the show off. Well, I can't help that. It's too late in American history for me to mince words. So mince words I will not. And so we're talking about this. Now, in the middle of all of this, we have the most divisive left-wing fanatic in the history of government. It's hard to imagine a more radical person becoming president than this guy. If you would have selected the head of the Ku Klux Klan to run on the Republican ticket and say he would win, I would say you're insane. Rightly so. Who would want him to win? Nobody. You have the equivalent of the Ku Klux Klan running America on the left-wing side. I stick by those words. In other words, you have equally radical left and right, don't you? But you have a hater in the White House that's so powerful and so devious in his ability to get his message across that he can do virtually anything he wants without opposition. So today we wake up and it gets even worse. Apparently it's seeping back to the girls who run his campaigns, and his image rather, that America's finally onto him. They see that he's a king without clothes. He's the amazing, transparent president. He said he'd have the most transparent administration in history, which is the opposite of what he has. It's a spy network like the Stasi in Eastern Europe. That, thank God, was stopped by Rand Paul, just for a little while anyway. And now he gets up, and the girls who run his image say, look, they're onto the fact that you're a lying, devious divider. We have to cover that up. So they give him a speech to read. You've got to listen to this again. In all of the listening I've ever done to politicians, this clip that I'm about to play for you will demonstrate without a doubt that he himself choked on the lie that he was reading. Listen to clip 4. He was stunned by what they wrote for him.
One of my core principles is that I will never engage in a politics in which
politics?
I'm trying to divide people or make them less than me because they look different.
If you listen to this, if you were in a CIA language laboratory and I were your instructor, I would say we have a man here who is so embarrassed by what he's reading that he actually can't even... Notice what I'm going to play it again over and over again. We're going to do it like we're in a classroom in the CIA Language Institute. I want you to listen to him when he stumbles on the word divide, number one. And then when he emphasizes the core principles, they taught him that at Harvard, how to roll his R's, core, how he says core. That worked for him very well with the rubes of America. They think he was an educated, literate man. He will never engage in apolitics. Listen carefully again and tell me if you actually think that he is not stunned at what the girls wrote for him.
One of my core principles is that I will never engage in a politics in which
pause.
I'm trying to divide people or make them...
You know when he said divide people? He didn't even want to... The word itself, it couldn't come out of his mouth. He learned division in the Alinsky School of Division, of divide and conquer. Okay, we've covered that. Have we covered it? I don't think so. Now, he used the same day to smear America as a racist nation, using the Congressional Medal of Honor that he gave to a dead Jew from World War II and I think a dead black male from World War II. I think they're dead. In other words, he has to dredge up now the racism of World War II to smear the greatest generation. Listen to clip 2 from The Man Who Doesn't Divide.
Now, America can't change what happened to Henry Johnson. We can't change what happened to too many soldiers like him who went uncelebrated because our nation judged them by the color of their skin.
Get off it already.
The content of their character. But we can do our best to make it right.
Get off it already. Get off your high horse. You stink to high heaven. You stink to high heaven. No one believes a word you say, you liar, you. I feel like I'm in a fever listening to this. When is it going to end? When is this brainwashing going to end? When is this psychosis of this president going to be exposed for what it is? When? When will he be stopped? When? Here comes the next big lie. Again, the dictator says that under his presidency, the U.S. is the most respected nation in the world. I want you to listen to this and listen to this written by the sorority in 5.
You know, people don't remember. When I came into office, the United States, in world opinion, ranked below China and just barely above Russia. And today, once again, the United States is the most respected country on earth.
Where?
And part of that, I think, is because of the work that we did to re-engage the world and say that we want to work with you as partners with mutual interest and mutual respect.
Okay, you know it's a complete fabrication. He almost started World War III with Russia, which, by the way, could still happen any moment because of his insanity and his inferiority complex and his jealousy of Putin. Now, suddenly, it's the most popular nation on earth. I wish that was true. But on what basis is it the most respected country in the world? Where would that be? In North Korea? Where are we respected? Look, you get the picture. We can deconstruct his liar day and night. What good is it going to do? Then, you know, all of a sudden we have this guy, the deli man, Sanders, coming up out of nowhere. A Lower East Side, like a real prize, Bernie Sanders. Time for the billionaires to pay their fair share of taxes. So let's have a laugh now and listen to the New York street communist Bernie Sanders in clip 12.
At a time when we have massive income and wealth inequality, we have got to ask the wealthiest people and largest corporations to start paying their fair share of taxes. It's
suck a salami. Leave me
alone.
Right
now, we are losing
Go eat a bratwurst and stuff a bratwurst in your yap.
Because profitable corporations are stashing their profits in the
Turn this guy
Cayman
off. Turn this liar off. Where's he raising his money from? How did this cretin become governor of Vermont? Senator from Vermont. This New York street agitator, Bernie Sanders, you hear? I mean, in my time, the most he could have done was run a slimy delicatessen on the Lower East Side that would have been closed down for health violations. He's the type of guy who would have sold, like, fetid hot dogs that he bought from a vendor somewhere in Brooklyn where they came in from China with dead cat feet in them. And then he would have talked about the evil poisons in food. So I suspect that Geffen, Katzenberg, Matzenberg, Ratzenberg, and Spielberg will not do fundraisers for Bernie Sanders. I suspect it will not be a fundraiser. Even they would be too embarrassed. They know that he's going nowhere fast. You know, maybe he could be an undertaker in Nebraska after this is all over. They could buy the con. Let's see what else we have for you. The chaos. Teachers complain. Chaos reigns as St. Paul's schools spend millions on white privilege training. I told you that in the last hour. They're teaching that white privilege exists because the American educational system is built around white culture, tradition, and social norms